steps can transform one reality, yours. Thank you.
This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
It may not happen at the moment that you want it to, but you got to understand the process. Everybody wants it yesterday.
What happens is a lot of people set goals, and they have this big goal, and they look at it like this giant staircase, and they're like, that just seems impossible. There's no way. It looks too hard. It looks too much work, and they don't ever start. They set a goal. Yeah, I want to be at the top of that staircase. It's easy to write that down, but when they go to actually start climbing, they just go, that's just too. But if all you did was just look at the first step and get on that first step, and then when you're on that step, just look at the next step. That's it. Don't look up. Just look at that next step.
You got to understand that it's not going to be easy. People think that there's no challenges. Again, people want it yesterday.
Most people want the convenience of transformation without the inconvenience.
What we do is we kind of check out because it feels overwhelming, or we check out because we're afraid, or we check out because we start listening to self-doubt, and then we make these teeny tiny decisions all day long. We don't even realize it. Decision to not get up on time, a decision to not eat the right thing, a decision to snap at your kids, a decision to not speak in a meeting, a decision to not look for a job, like whatever it is. All day long, these tiny decisions that take you so far off track. And then you wake up and you look at your life and you think, how the hell did I get here?
The reason why a lot of people won't become who they want is because they're too attached to who they've been. And you hear it all the time when people say, I've always been this way. Okay, well, if that's working for you, keep doing that.
Every single person who has ever done anything worthwhile or exceptional or difficult or extraordinary, anyone, whether it's great artists or authors or mathematicians or whatever it is, everyone encounters difficulties. There is no easy road. It does not exist. It is impossible. Everyone has issues. When you come up with excuses for why other people are successful and you're not, that is dangerous. When you give yourself an escape, yeah, well, that's easy for you to say, you do this, you do. Trust me, everybody has a hard road.
You have to look at the bigger picture. You have to have belief in yourself, and you have to have faith in yourself. And faith is not really just having or understanding that everything will be okay, but faith is understanding that if things don't go your way, or if it doesn't turn out the way you want to, it's still gonna be okay.
We all go through hard times. We all go through depression. We all go through doubt and moments in your life where it's really difficult. That is what makes you a person. And those difficult moments are what build your character. Show me a great man who's the son of a great man. That's what we're saying. These kids that are born billionaires, you're never going to be a self-made person. You have a backup trust for your backup trust for your trust.
Feel the fear and do it anyway.
If you don't push yourself, you don't find out where the boundaries of your current skill level are, and you don't fall, you don't get any better. No matter how talented, experienced, or privileged somebody else is, you can beat anybody at anything. You can accomplish any goal you set your sights on over time. If you are just more consistent than everybody else around you, you will win every race that you run.
Somewhere deep inside, you know what kind of person you were designed to be. if you want to produce great acorns, think like an oak, not like an acorn. Think like the person you intend to become.
Every seed has a tree in it, and the potential success of that tree is in that seed. And that's the way you are. Whatever you were born to do and be is in you now, and the success of your life depends on you becoming all that is trapped inside of you.
What kind of seed is in you? I believe part of our responsibility in life is to find out who we are.
You were not born just to make a living and keep a job and pay bills and then die. You were not born just to retire and get some pension and then fade away and we put you in a plot somewhere.
You and I were born with the gift to make this a better place.
Our circumstances and situations did not lend itself to us being successful. Many of us were not raised in an ideal circumstance that prepared us for where we really wanted to go. And even though we love the idea of being progressive or prospering or intelligent or spiritual, the reality is we were not aligned in the direction that we needed to be aligned to go to where we're trying to go.
Ask yourself, how would the person I'd like to be do the things I'm about to do?
Success for the next year is going to be you making another step toward fulfilling your purpose in life while you were born, making another step.
Work to your potential, not your quota. If you want to stay really motivated, if you want to answer the question to why people that have already made it keep pushing, it is because they don't operate on quotas, they operate off potential. They're driven to reach
every
their
day,
potential.
every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM. Whether it's happening in Port Harcourt, South, Nigeria, or around the world, we've got you covered. On air, online, delivering balanced news and unbiased analysis. Today, 95.1 FM.
This is Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News.
Good morning. This is the World News at 7 on your premium talk radio, Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. I am Kala Dakarubatbo. First, the headlines. Federal government pulls out of WAEC examination as Federal Executive Council approves cancellation of resumption of schools across Nigeria. Governor Nyesom Wike decries high level of indiscipline among residents of Rivers State over a flagrant violation of COVID-19 protocol. Director of Operations Mohammed Umar emerges interim head of EFCC amidst investigation of Ibrahim Magu. On the foreign scene, new wave of COVID-19 forces Australia's second largest city to another round of lockdown. Stay tuned for the news in details. The federal government has cancelled the resumption of schools for graduating classes. The Minister of Education, Adamu, also announced that no Unity schools will participate in the scheduled WAEC exams. Adamu disclosed this while speaking to State House correspondents after the weekly Federal Executive Council presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari.
Yesterday, we called a meeting of stakeholders who will tell us their situation and what needs to be done in order for it to be safe. While the meeting was going on, WAEC announced that they are starting on the... So let's see who they are going to start with. And I will also like to, at this position, ask those states that have already announced, I appeal to them. I think it is not safe.
The minister urged the West African Examination Council WAEC and the state governments to reconsider their decision to open for exams. The WAEC examinations has been fixed to start between August 4 and September 5, 2020. Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has decried the increasing level of indiscipline among residents of the state who have continued to violate the COVID-19 protocol. Governor Wike expressed concern at the statewide broadcast on coronavirus in the state. He said motorists and commuters disobey the COVID-19 regulations on transportation, while churches also disregard social distancing rules of 70 worshippers.
Furthermore, in the face of increasing infections and systemic risks to public health and safety, most residents have continued to disregard the mitigating protocols with reckless abandon. All over the state, people are going about without wearing face masks or practicing the simple hygiene of regular washing of hands and applying alcohol-based sanitizer. Public and private transporters and business owners, including supermarkets and related businesses, have refused to obey or enforce the established guidelines on social distancing, hand washing, and wearing of face masks. Security reports also indicated that churches in Eleme, Obiapo, Oyibo, and Port Harcourt city local government areas are refusing to limit social gathering to not more than 50 persons at a time. Burial ceremonies are also reportedly being conducted in clear breach of the 50 persons maximum attendance limit, such that a serving permanent secretary had the temerity to chase away officials of the State Ministry of Health who went to enforce the established guidelines on public burials at Oyibo.
Governor Wike, who appealed to Rivers people to be wary of the increasing number of the virus, announced the sack of the permanent secretary establishment, Sonny Okere, for hosting a ceremony against the directive of the Rivers State government.
These and all other measures are very important, and the more we strictly apply and comply with them, quicker are we going to slow the spread and eventually kick out this pandemic from our state. As a government, we are serious with our own responsibilities, and those who take our resolve for granted and think that they can undermine our efforts at will without suffering consequences are gravely mistaken. Consequently, the permanent secretary establishment, Mr. Sonny Okere, has been relieved of his appointment with immediate effect for flouting and obstructing the enforcement of the guidelines on public burial. This should serve as a lesson to all other public officers who may wish to be responsible.
Governor Wike also announced curfew on Bonny and On-Air from 10th of July. Social Political Pressure Group, Network for Defense of Democracy and Good Governance, NDDGG, has challenged the Rivers State government to make public what plans and projects it intends to execute in the state with the 78 billion naira recently refunded to it by the federal government. This comes barely 3 weeks after the group challenged the state government to absolve itself of allegations of financial impropriety to the tune of 118 billion naira withdrawn from a bank counter by its officials published against it by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The NDDGG, among some of its demands contained in a communique jointly signed by officials of the group and read by its leader, Sebumabo Jackreach, at the World Media Conference. The flood that comes with the rains in Port Harcourt have continued to wreak havoc on some communities in the state. One of such communities is Ruwali Ogbogoro community, where flood has sacked a lot of families of their homes. Some members of the community who spoke to our correspondent said the flooding became worse after contractors abandoned a road which was awarded 2 years ago. The community called on the Rivers State government to prevail on the contractor to return to sites.
If you see people's houses, the houses are flooded because they have started the road from a point, moving water, and this is the end point where they have not touched. So all the water within the area is circulating within this area of the environment, and because of that, people's houses are being flooded. People are living. Those of us who live here, my house is already flooded.
The cause of the flooding is they were told that the contract was given to some contract people, and they did the work by clearing the road. As you can see, after some days on period, they stopped the work, and since the period they stopped, the major road that they channeled to this this area now. So the water coming from that road. They say from Adajoy to this place.
They make gutter from the other side, and all the floor is just coming this way. For the floor to pass, this neighborhood, they block that way. Even the room, everywhere is covered from water. That's how the water affects us. Every year, that's how the thing used to be.
Also speaking, another stakeholder in the community, Father Kanale, who is also a health practitioner, spoke on the health dangers associated with the floods. The River State Chairman of the federal government's Special Public Works Program, Innocent Barika, has warned members of the public to be mindful of some persons who are already taking advantage of the program to defraud people. The warning follows reports that some persons have started selling forms for the program, while the federal government was yet to announce the full commencement of the exercise. Barako, while speaking during the committee's inaugural and familiarization forum, reiterated that the federal government has not officially commenced the recruitment exercise.
As of the committee, and we are not known ourselves, so we thought that it was necessary for us to know ourselves. So it was a familiarization meeting, and we are waiting for guidelines from the ministry. As soon as we get the guidelines, it will make our meetings more efficient and effective. But at the moment, it's important to say that we've not gotten guidelines, and we are waiting for directives from the ministry and the NDE to move on. So that's what we are waiting. But we need to know ourselves. No form, to the best of our knowledge, there is no form. Right now, there is no form. It's important to say that.
The governor of Kogi State, Yahya Bello, has said tribute will continue to be paid to citizens who lost their lives in the discharge of their duty while defending the judiciary and doctrine of separation of powers. Bello said this during the inauguration of the newly appointed acting chief judge and president of the Customary Court of Appeal, Kogi State. In his tribute to the late chief judge, Justice Nasser Ajana, and president of the Kogi State Customary Court of Appeal, Justice Ibrahim Atta Loga, who reportedly died of COVID-19 within 1 week, Bello, who expressed confidence in the new appointees, charged them to emulate their past lordships, who achieved a legacy that would speak for them while they are gone.
We sworn in replacements to fill the vacuum with their lordships' exits as created in the fabric of governance in our state. Kogi State is indeed fortunate to have found worthy successors in the person of the two lords to whom we have entrusted the high offices and responsibilities of previous occupants. It now remains to enjoin the head of the Kogi State Judiciary and the president of the Customary Court of Kogi State, both of whom we have just sworn in, to bring their considerable history and experienced jurists to bear in the administration of justice in this state. We have no doubt that they will provide excellent leadership for our judiciary and the state in general. We therefore charge them to execute all the functions of their respective offices with erudition and the fear of Almighty God.
On his part, the acting chief judge of Kogi State, Justice Henry Olushuyi, thanked the state government for acting promptly to fill in the void and assured that their best would be done at all times to ensure the promotion of peace and justice in the state. You are listening to the World News at 7 on Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People. After the break, more news, foreign and sports stories. Please stay tuned.
Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
95.1 FM, Voice of the People.
And we're back.
You're still tuned to the World News at 7 on Today 95.1 FM, Voice of the People. Welcome back now to the rest of the bulletin. The Senate has received a request from President Muhammadu Buhari for the replacement and confirmation of 2 non-carrier ambassadors designate. The request was contained in a letter read during plenary by the Senate President, Ahmad Lawan. The president sought to replace the earlier nomination of Oboro Effiong Akpabio and Brigadier General Buala Yusuf Buka from Akwa Ibom and Borno State, respectively. According to the letter, the president forwarded for confirmation by the Senate the appointment of John J. Usanga and Air Commodore Peter Anda Bakia Ghana from Akwa Ibom and Niger State, respectively, as non-carrier ambassadors designate. But coming under Order 43 of the Senate Standing Rules, the lawmaker representing FCT in the upper chamber, Senator Philip Aduda, protested the exclusion of a non-carrier ambassador from the FCT. According to him, the only FCT indigene presently serving as a non-carrier ambassador in Sierra Leone, Afiz Obada, was not reappointed. Director of Operations at the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Mohammed Umar, has been picked to oversee the affairs of the commission in the absence of its suspended acting chairman, Ibrahim Magu. Reports say that Umar was chosen by the EFCC's hierarchy after Magu was suspended. Meanwhile, human rights lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, said the probe on the embattled acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Ibrahim Magu, is a question mark on the anti-graft agency. Falana said even though Magu is presumed innocent of all the allegations leveled against him, it is an anti-climax for an anti-corruption czar to be linked to a miasma of corrupt practices.
There's nothing going on that is strange. If Mr. Ibrahim Magu is found not guilty, at the end of the day, he will either be asked to go back to the police force or be asked to continue in office. But if the other way around, again, the law has to take its course. There's no sentiment about it. The EFCC has made tremendous progress in the last 5 years, which cannot be rubbish. And that is why I said we must not throw away the baby and the bathwater. We must allow this process to run its full course. At the end of the day, the public must know where we move from there. But whether we want to allow this system to remain or not, the accountability mechanisms put in place by the law must be made to function. Whether the Senate have confirmed Mr. Ibrahim Magu or not in the last 5 years, there is a statutory duty that the report of activities of the EFCC must be monitored, must be debated annually.
Falana, however, called on the Justice Ayo Salami-led panel to carry out a thorough investigation into the allegations of corrupt practices leveled against the EFCC boss. In the meantime, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has demanded the prosecution of the removed acting chairman of the EFCC, Ibrahim Magu. The main opposition party made a call after reviewing the reported circumstances surrounding the investigation of the indicted acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The party, in a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Kola Olobodiyan, said that Magu's travels reinforces his position that the much hyped war against corruption by the EFCC under his watch has been a huge scam by corrupt individuals to cover the plundering of public resources, harass political opponents, intimidate and extort money from innocent Nigerians. The All Progressives Congress, APC, has opted for indirect mode of primary election for Ondo State. The primary for the governorship election is slated for July 20. The ruling party also began a screening of the 12 aspirants at an undisclosed hotel in Utako in Abuja. Reports say that the governor, Mai Mala Buni-led caretaker committee, resolved to stick to the indirect mode of primary earlier adopted by the Adams Oshomole-led National Working Committee. A faction of the caretaker committee of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State has warned that the fate of the former national chairman of APC, Adams Oshomole, will be meted on erring members of the party in the state. Factional chairman of the caretaker committee of Rivers APC, Sokonte Davies, issued the warning during an interactive session with newsmen at the party secretariat in Port Harcourt. Davies, while identifying mismanagement of ambition and grievance as the major causes of the crisis within the APC in the state, disclosed that members of the CTC, led by him, have already started internal reconciliation process to ensure the unity of the party.
The National Executive Committee of the party declared that all cases against party members and against the party were withdrawn. But Ugo Aguma has gone on to file a case against us. So this is not a matter that we are going to file a case against him. We are going to National Caretaker Committee. We as Caretaker Committee, we are not in court with anybody in the sense that we have taken anybody to court. Whatever thing we are doing, we are going to respond. And Ugo Aguma has filed a content proceeding against us. And we are willing to go and defend that position because we are not in contempt of the judgment of Justice Omereji. Unless, if it was, as we came on board, we have tried to reach out to all the people, some of whom we believe or we feel that they feel aggrieved.
Reacting to the judgment of a Rivers State High Court allowing only one Daily Moses and those who purchased the nomination forms in 2018 to participate in the party's congresses, Davis said that the appeal court decision on the matter will be obeyed. On the foreign scene, Australia's second largest city has begun a second lockdown in response to a spike in new coronavirus infections. 5 million Melbourne residents will be barred from leaving home for 6 weeks, except for essential reasons. Police say they are setting up a ring of steel around the city with checkpoints anytime and anywhere to enforce the measures. Borders between Victoria, of which Melbourne is the capital, and neighbouring states closed yesterday. Prime Minister Scott Morrison paid tribute.
95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Hold on, Kata. No, don't say else. Just bring 5,000 now.
Only.
Make
the Kata day. Make the code remain.
Yeah, they worry.
You were not aware you're a thief. Now that you know that your money is coming from a thief, do you not see why you're a thief?
All right, still talking about affairs of the federal government. We understand also that the federal government...
Welcome to today's edition of Beats and Pieces in your premium talk and news.
And it's going to be 1-1 Maratta. 1-0 is never good enough.
That's why we're called the voice of the people. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Act.
Here we go.
Welcome to Wisdom Power, a life-changing moment with Additional Gentry, the lead pastor of Wisdom Power Christian Center.
Olympic qualifiers. We do not want to miss the Olympic Games this time around like what happened 4 years ago. The nation failed to qualify for the Rio 2016 Olympics in Abuja, where Egypt got the ticket in front of our home fans. The federation is indicating interest to host the final round of the women's qualification in the country, but we hope not to commit silly mistakes for the second time on home soil. We move to table tennis, where World Table Tennis Council Chairman Louis Golang says Africa will produce more stars like Nigeria's Aruna Quadri if more tournaments are organized by the body. Golang stated this while speaking at the webinar held specifically for ITTF family members located in Africa on Wednesday, July 8th. In his remarks, Golang, a former world and Olympic champion, said, and I quote, "I believe everyone already knows that WTT is exciting as an exciting large-scale project, and many table tennis stakeholders have been preparing for these moments for a long time. Our future goal is to develop table tennis as one of the world's leading sports. Table tennis would not only create more star players and fans, but also feature the most exciting events. Players and fans are at the core of world table tennis." That's the meaning of WTT right there. We hope that through future WTT events, Africa will have more stars like Quadri Aruna. Golang added in future World Table Tennis will pay more attention to its collaborations with Africa. More than a month ago at the World Table Tennis China Forum, Aruna was very concerned about the qualifications of players to the World Table Tennis events and also asked whether we could host WTT Grand Smash events in Africa. I want to say that these points are all within the scope of World Table Tennis plans. What we have to do in the future is to allow more people to participate in and to be aware of international table tennis events in order to enhance the influence of table tennis worldwide. A very long one right there, but we hope development would continue in terms of Africa, and hopefully we would get more stars like Aruna Quadri. Let's talk lawn tennis. Alexander Zverev has announced former French Open finalist David Ferrer will join his coaching team on a trial basis. Ferrer brought the curtain down on his playing career in May last year, with the Spaniard losing his final match at the Madrid Masters to Zverev. But the pair will now link up after Zverev wrote on his Instagram story, "I am going through a trial period with David Ferrer on my team. Could not be more excited to get back to work. Can't wait for the tour to be back." Zverev has worked with former world number ones like Ivan Lendl and Juan Carlos Ferrero in the past. Meanwhile, Novak Djokovic has accused critics of subjecting him to a witch hunt after his Adria tour ended in a coronavirus fiasco. While he also remains uncertain about playing at the US Open, world number one Djokovic, Viktor Troicki, Grigor Dimitrov, Borna Koric all tested positive for coronavirus while the event was called off. Quoting him, said, "I can only see criticism lately, and much of it is malicious," Djokovic told Wednesday's issue of Serbia's daily Sportski Journal. "It's obviously more than just criticism. It's like an agenda and a witch hunt are on. Someone has to take the fall, a big name. I still haven't decided whether I'll play in the US Open. The upsurge in registered COVID-19 cases in the United States and New York in particular are not playing into the event's hands," added Djokovic, who returned to training on Tuesday. And in golf, the Ryder Cup will not take place in September after tournament organizers confirmed the event has been postponed for 12 months. As a result of the postponement, the 44th Ryder Cup in Italy will now move back to 2023, and all subsequent contests will move back to odd-numbered years as it was before the 9/11 terrorist attacks forced the 2001 contest to be delayed for a year. European Ryder Cup director Guy Kinins said the Ryder Cup is rightly celebrated as one of the world's greatest sporting occasions, made special and totally unique in our sport by the fervent atmosphere created by the passionate spectators of both sides. While that point is significant, it is not as important as the health of the spectators, which these difficult times is always the main consideration. We therefore stand beside our partners at the PGA of America in the decision to postpone the Ryder Cup for a year and join with them in extending our thanks to the PGA Tour for their willingness to help by moving the date of the President's Cup. Let's talk basketball this morning. An NBA Commissioner, Adam Silver, reiterated Tuesday that a significant spread of coronavirus could burst the league's safety bubble and cause a second shutdown of the season. Silver said he fully expects some players who gather in Florida to resume the suspended season will test positive for coronavirus, adding that fresh outbreaks after players got through quarantine procedures could prove more damaging. Certainly, if we had any sort of a significant spread at all within our campus, we would be shut down again, Silver said at Fortune's virtual Brainstorm Health Conference. It will be concerning if once the players sit through our quarantine period and then were to test positive, we would know that in essence there is a hole in our bubble. The NBA halted play on March 11th after Utah Jazz center Rudy Gobert tested positive for coronavirus. The season is set to resume on July 30th with 22 teams jockeying for a spot in the 16-team playoffs that start August 17th. And we talk Formula One this morning. Sky F1's Jensen Button and Martin Brundle believes Fernando Alonso's return to Formula One will be box office and great for the sport after the two-time champion's 2021 move to Renault was confirmed. Alonso, after 2 seasons out of F1, will be back next year with the team that took him to his titles in 2005 and 2006. Replacing Daniel Ricciardo. Button was one of Alonso's last teammates in Formula One, partnering him at McLaren from 2015 to 2017, and he admitted he was not surprised that the Spaniard wanted to return, nor that Renault came calling.
Not really. You know, Fernando is just, he loves this racing. It doesn't matter what it is. You know, he wants to get behind the wheel or something. I think he's really excited about the new regulations coming in. Obviously, they've been delayed a little bit. But, yeah, I think it's great for the sport having him back.
All right, we move to boxing, where Dillian White has parted company with trainer Matt Tibbs ahead of his WBC interim title defense against Alexander Povetkin. The British heavyweight has worked with Tibbs for the last 4 years on his rise towards a world heavyweight title fight, but announced an amicable split after relocating his training camp to Portugal for the Povetkin fight on August 22nd. Announcing the split on social media, White wrote, "Just to let everyone know, Matt Tibbs and I are no longer working together as boxer and trainer." And we'll move to football. That's, of course, all another sport. Let's now switch our attentions to football. The Nigeria Women Football League has announced that the 2019-2020 season for all three tiers of the Women Football League pyramid will be scrapped to protect the health of players and officials in the various clubs amid the COVID-19 pandemic. The unanimous decision was one of several reached during a virtual conference between the NWFL management headed by Mrs. Aisha Falode, club owners chairman and managers on Tuesday, July 7th, 2020. An NWFL statement signed by club owners Abdul Sule said the stakeholders agreed that preparations should now focus on the 2020-2021 season. The start date for next season will, however, be contingent on the federal government approving the resumption of sporting activities in the country. The statement noted all football and other sporting activities have been suspended in Nigeria since 18th March as a result of the pandemic. In the meantime, the Nigerian Women Football League has adopted a new format for the 2021 Nigerian Women Football League Premiership season. This was reviewed in a series of tweets on its official Twitter handle yesterday. The Women League body has decided to adopt the original straight league format for the 2021 league season and is expected to draw out plans and calendar for the new season. The tweet added that the decision was made on Tuesday during a virtual meeting between the NWFL Management Committee headed by Aisha Falode and the club owners. To Super Eagles, where Super Eagles striker Paul Onuachu has become the first high-profile Nigerian football star to test positive for COVID-19. Onuachu tested positive at his base or club base in Belgium and has gone into quarantine for a week, according to Headlast News. Onuachu, who made the Super Eagles debut last year and was on the final squad to the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations, only recently returned to his Belgian club KRC Genk after he accompanied Victor Osimhen for his father's burial in Nigeria. Let's talk English Premier League football, where Manchester City returned to winning ways in style by thrashing hapless Newcastle at Etihad Stadium. Gabriel Jesus ended his 9-game goal drought by converting from David Silva's cutback, while Riyad Mahrez swept home the second from Kevin De Bruyne's pass. It got worse for Newcastle in the second period when Federico Fernandez inadvertently deflected Matrici's attempted clearance into his own net, and David Silva added the fourth by curling in a sublime free kick. Raheem Sterling came off the bench to add the fifth for City in injury time, rolling in from Silva's pass. Manager Pep Guardiola was delighted with the performance of his team.
Yeah, since we came back in lockdown, we played really good all the games. Unfortunately, we dropped points for some individual mistakes against especially Chelsea, the first one, and Southampton, but in general, the way we are playing and the performance are really good.
Guardiola explained how vital it was for his team to score 5 goals.
It's always happened. Always we try to do it, and for respect for the competition, for our opponent. And it's good to score 5 goals again. We have many since we arrived, so yeah, it's good. So we are 1 point ahead to qualify for the Champions League next season. If we're able to play it, we will know it on 13. But especially to prepare and arrive in the best condition as possible, so everybody fit against the true finals for us. Semi-final against Arsenal and in the second leg against Madrid.
Elsewhere, John Egan scored with a dramatic 93rd minute header to give Europe chasing Sheffield United a 1-0 victory over Wolves at Bramall Lane. Sheffield United manager Chris Wilder was delighted with his team's late winner.
I really enjoyed watching my team tonight. I thought right the way through it was a great effort. We're a little bit stretched in terms of numbers. There's a few boys that sticking their hands up there that really possibly shouldn't even be in the 19 as it is now. But I thought it was a committed performance and one that was ability-wise and technique-wise had just all the hallmarks of a proper Sheffield United performance. And as I said, I really enjoyed watching my team and delighted that, a late winner, and it was a really tight game. It was always going to be a tight game, but to get a winner late on is a really good feeling.
On Sheffield United's Champions League qualification, Wilder said, "What will be, will be."
And putting a performance in, and whatever it'll be. We wanted to move our points total from 48, and we've moved it, so it's a big 3 points for us. But I thought the manner of the win, really, as I said, stretched, tired bodies out there. Quick turnaround from Sunday afternoon to Wednesday at 6 o'clock, and the players really had to dig deep to find a performance, to find that last bit, and to find a result. And all round, as I said, it's a big performance and a big result for us.
At Anfield, Mohamed Salah joined a trio of Liverpool legends in a prestigious club as he played a starring role in a 3-1 win over Brighton. The Egypt international scored twice as the Premier League champions recorded their first away triumph since February 15th. Moving on to 92 points with 4 games remaining. Salah steered the visitors in front in the 6th minute and then assisted Jordan Henderson's goal that arrived just 127 seconds later, laying the ball off for the Liverpool captain to curl a shot behind Matt Ryan. Leandro Trossard halved the deficit before the break, but Salah made sure of victory when he headed in Andy Robertson's corner, taking his tally in the league this season to 19 goals. So it was Man City 5, Newcastle United 0, Sheffield United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, West Ham United 0, Burnley 1. Brighton and Hove Albion losing to Liverpool. That one ended 3-1, as I told you earlier. And Manchester United manager, well, probably ahead of tonight, talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, says the team would focus on every game, even as he believes in a win. A win in all the remaining games would guarantee the Red Devils a Champions League qualification. Solskjaer maintained that the Red Devils cannot rely on help from anyone else to qualify.
Of course, you never know what's going to happen, but I think it looks like, obviously, the teams around, they're playing well, but there's so many games, so we just focus on this one, the next one, and that one. And if you win every single one of them, we're in the top 4. So we cannot rely on help from anyone else. We just have to do it ourselves, and that's to grow as a team and know that going into next season we can put a different challenge to other teams as well.
The former Mother boss stressed that having gone 16 matches unbeaten will give his team more confidence.
The results, they matter. And now the last 16 games unbeaten, which gives us more confidence. But 16 games is nowhere near what a Man United team should strive towards. So we can still go many games unbeaten if we focus on the right things. If we focus on the next one, and suddenly you stood there with 16. That's what we've done. So hopefully that can continue.
All right, fixtures to expect today. AFC Bournemouth will be up against Tottenham Hotspur. The Toffees, talking about Everton at Goodison Park, will be up against Southampton. And Aston Villa would host Manchester United at Villa Park. And in the La Liga, RC Espanyol's 26-year stay in La Liga is over after they suffered a 1-0 loss to Barcelona in a derby that saw both teams reduced to 10 men. Luis Suarez's second-half strike consigned Barcelona's rivals Espanyol to a 1-0 defeat and relegation from La Liga in a match that saw 2 red cards. Elsewhere, Samuel Chukwueze's Villarreal won 3-1 away to Getafe in La Liga yesterday, following a glut of goals in the second half to maintain their push for a Champions League spot, practically crushing Getafe's hopes of a top 4 finish. In the process, Santi Cazorla put Villarreal ahead from the penalty spot in the 66th minute, then restored the advantage with a second spot kick in the 86th minute after Hugo Duro had equalized for Getafe in the 80th minute. Ruben Pena sealed Villarreal's 6th win in 8 matches by scoring in added time as they provided a perfect response to their 4-1 defeat to Barcelona on Sunday, which was the first loss since the season resumed after the COVID-19 stoppage. So it was Getafe 1, Villarreal 3, Real Betis 3, Osasuna 0, Barcelona 1, RC Espanyol 0. And tonight, Eibar at 6:30 will be up against Chidozie Awaziam and Kenneth Omeruo's Leganes. Mallorca will be up against Levante, and Athletic Bilbao will be up against Sevilla. And in the Serie A, there were games last night. Fiorentina did play at a goalless draw with Cagliari. Genoa lost to Napoli 1-2. Atalanta, they did beat Sampdoria 2-0. And Bologna, they lost to Sassuolo 2-1. The visiting team edging that one. Roma, they beat at the Stadio Olimpico, did beat Parma 2-1. And Torino, right there in Turin, did beat Brescia 3-1. And tonight would see Spal come up against Udinese, and Verona, that's Chievo Verona, Joel Obi's club, will be up against Victor Moses' Inter Milan. Now, Jose Mourinho, well, he says Tottenham are unlikely to appeal the 4-match ban handed to Eric Dyer for confronting a fan at a match in March. Dyer was handed the suspension and fined £40,000 after being charged with misconduct by the FA for climbing into the stands to confront a fan following Tottenham's FA Cup defeat to Norwich on March 4th. The suspension rules Dyer out of all but one of Tottenham's remaining Premier League games this season, but Mourinho says the club is unlikely to appeal the decision. Quoting him, he says, "I don't think so, honestly, because if you appeal, you have other risks, and let's at least start next season without a suspension, said Mourinho. And Lazio defender Patrick has been given a 4-match ban and fined €10,000. That's about £8,985 for biting Lecce's Giulio Donati during Tuesday's 2-1 defeat. Patrick, who's 27 years of age, was shown a straight red card for the offense in injury time during the Serie A game. The Spanish fullback will miss second place Lazio's meeting with leaders Juventus on 20th July. I apologize for my behavior. I was not in a lucid state, Patrick wrote in a post on Instagram. And with that story, we call it a wrap on today's edition of Sports Attack. Kudos to Reliable Reliance Udoyin, who put this package together. Thank you so much for your time. The Sports Crew will be back at exactly 3 p.m. for another exciting, thrilling edition of today's Sports Life. Remember, social distancing, regular hand washing, and other precautions are not simple, but no price is too high for you to pay for your life. My name is Wisdom Obina. Stay tuned to this dial, Today FM 95, the rocking one.
Today95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people.
Don't be sad, understand. Everybody has a day when the sun stays away. Take heart.
Court to court. Are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
I was born by the river in a little tent, and oh, just like that river I've been running ever since. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. So I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know change gon' come. Oh, yes it will. Now I go to the movies and I go downtown, but somebody keeps telling me don't hang around. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Yes, sir. So now I go to my brother and I say, brother, help me please. But somehow he winds up knocking me down on my knees. Oh, there were times I thought I wouldn't last for long. Now I think I'm able to carry on. It's been a long, long time coming, but I know a change gon' come. Yes, it will. Oh, I know a change gon' come. I said I know. A change is gonna come. Hey, hey, hey. A change is gonna come right now. Oh, a change is gonna come. I see it now. Hey, oh my, leave me. I said a change is gonna come.
Walking this inside my head. Turn it out, turn the lights down. Voices inside so loud. Need a drum store, got a Tonya. I couldn't feel, I wish that I could disappear. The voices inside were so